Remember, all bowel symptoms are not functional. Some of the bowel disorders may be extremely important to be quickly picked up and investigated. These will present with what are called the alarm signs, and these must not be ignored. If we see an alarm feature, it is a red flag, and such patient should be thoroughly investigated and appropriate treatment must be instituted. What are the so-called alarm signs? Persistent fever, GI bleeding of whatever nature, maybe hematemesis, maybe melena, maybe frank blood in the stools. Weight loss, unintentional weight loss. Anemia, either normocytic normochromic or microcytic hypochromic type of anemia. Abdominal mass. Recent change in the symptoms and bowel habits. Any person presents with bowel symptoms more than 50 years of age. People with family history of organic bowel disease. So these are the alarm signs, and the patients presenting with GI symptoms which we can consider to be suitable as classified as IBS, but if they have any one or more of these alarm signs, it is a warning, and such patients must not be sent out with a diagnosis of IBS unless and until we thoroughly evaluate them immediately and appropriately treat them. Of course, with all the investigations, if every organic entity has been ruled out, then you can consider the diagnosis of functional disorder, but mostly patients with alarm signs will not fit into functional bowel disorders. What is the natural history of irritable bowel syndrome? It is important for us to know the natural history of any disease so that we can prognosticate and tell the patient what could happen over time, and we can understand what will be the response to our treatment and what we can look for in future. So a group of patients, when they are followed for a long period of 6 years, a large number of patients of IBS, they have shown these following outcomes. IBS remained unchanged. The green area here, majority of the patients, around 50% of the patients, the IBS remained unchanged. Around 35% of the patients became symptom free. That means they were cured of their IBS. In 10% of the patients, there was worsening of the symptoms, and the IBS not only was persisting but became worse. And around 5% of the patients, an alternative diagnosis was fixed up on these patients due to various investigations, and they are no more belonging to IBS. In nutshell, 50% of them continue to be where they were in spite of all the treatment. Around 35% of them get rid of the problem. Around 10% of them show worsening of the symptoms, and 5% of them will have alternative diagnosis. Many patients with symptoms suggestive of IBS may not seek medical advice. For those small group of patients who come and ask for medical advice, if we misdiagnose IBS and dub it as something organic, then there is a price that we need to pay. That will be in the form of unnecessary hospitalization, unwanted exploration, and various tests, including invasive and non-invasive tests, which are expensive and sometimes dangerous and produce lot of trouble and discomfort to the patient. These patients are already functional patients. They increase the mental stress. The more you subject them to stress, the more you are not finding anything, the more they are stressed that why this is occurring, everything is looking normal, what is down. That way, the mental stress, the brain gut axis gets hyperactivated. If IBS is missed and the pain is mistaken for something serious, people may be subjected for unwarranted surgery, the most common of them being cholecystectomy, appendectomy and hysterectomy. Unnecessarily, the cost and morbidity and associated small mortality risks of these surgeries will be very great for a patient with a misdiagnosis of IBS. Remember that IBS may coexist with any other organic GI disease. In such a case, we not only address the IBS, we should identify the underlying organic cause and also treat it. What are the routine tests that are required to rule out organic disease? Here, in IBS, we do the test not to confirm the diagnosis of IBS, but to rule out other organic causes before we label a patient as a functional bowel disorder of the IBS type. Careful history, physical examination, limited laboratory and structural evaluations are the rule. Stool examination for occult blood for leukocytes, ova and parasites to rule out other important and common causes. Liver function tests for hepatobiliary disease and also if necessary malabsorption tests may be required, particularly in patients with IBS-D type. Sigmoidoscopy or colonoscopy may be required to rule out inflammatory conditions like regional enteritis, ulcerative colitis or sometimes neoplasms or Melanacea coli. Ultrasound and biopsy are usually not contributory for the diagnosis or for exclusion of bowel diseases, because ultrasound will not pick up the hollow organs and biopsy may not be usually required unless we find out that there is a mass or that there is an evidence of chronic inflammatory change in the bowel. So, these are some of the investigations that will be required in a case of IBS.